What's up everybody, my name is Rob and welcome back to Build It TV. Today we're going to be working on the Datsun again. We took a bit of a break from it because it was like 30 degrees here, which is super hot for England. And basically I just walked up to the garage, stared at it, sweated for a bit and walked back in again because it's too hot to do anything. But today we're going to do something exciting, which is hooking up some power to the Datsun. So I've had this car a couple of months now, and if you've been watching, we've done lots of bits for cleaning it up. In fact, you're going to see some bits from a future episode, because I'm not doing these in sequence, of the cleanup of the engine bay. But I've never applied power to it. The wiring is a bit temperamental in places. Some of it had been chewed through by like rats and things, or whatever was living in there, and some of it is just plain missing. So I've got a battery charged up here. We're going to first of all just test it up to the starter motor, because I've applied a starter motor to it that I think should work. I think it's off an RB engine, and because the original starter motor was kaput. And then we're going to try hooking up like the rest of the electrics really and just see what we get. So I rummaged through my parts bin at the unit of starter motors, and we've got a few different ones here from SRs and CAs and stuff like that. I'm not even quite sure what that one's from, but it's definitely a Nissan. And this one here seems to bolt up well, and it looks like the teeth for the starter motor drive will engage with the flywheel, but there's only one way to find that out, and that is by hooking it up and seeing if our front pulley turns. So I'm just going to earth it anywhere on the casing of the starter motor, and then we'll put the live and just touch that against the starter terminal, which I've already looped to the solenoid as well. Okay, this is really good news. Our starter motor engaged, our flywheel turned, and when I put my hand near one of the cylinders, I can feel a bit of compression coming out. So that's good. So the next thing to do is to hook up to the wiring of the car. There's a couple of snags on this. First one is that the main wiring looks to have just been cut. So I've got a little bit of research on that. I'm going to assume that that is the main live to everything, but I will be double checking that before anything else. The other issue is we don't have a key. Well, we have a key that came with the car, but it doesn't fit the ignition. So great job. Doesn't fit the doors either. So I just, you know, keeping this around for fun. But don't worry, we can do something with these wires here and certainly get it started, or get it to ignition point. Best thing about having crap paintwork is you can just put your tools and cup of tea anywhere. Right, we're going to do some continuity testing on the live wire to the fusible links, just make sure that all goes where we think it goes, and then we'll probably strip a bit of wire off and use the jump cables to earth it and live it. Okay, so I'll strip that wiring back, and the first thing to do is just going to hook up the lives and just have a look around and make sure there is no smoke coming from anywhere. But don't worry, I've got my fire safety officer ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
Comment down below if you see any smoke. The place will be ablaze by the time I read it. Okay, no smoke, but no spark on the wires either, so I don't know if there's anything connecting. There's power. Okay, so I've left that hooked up, and I've just popped the connection off the back of the ignition to these ones here. And we're going to have a little test and just see which ones line up to be the get any dash lights or anything switched on. In fact, There's no hazards there working. Let's just see if we bridge any of these wires, whether it works. Obviously I'm not going to show you which wires to bridge, because then you just steal my car. Okay, I've got you guys plonked on the dash, and I'm just trying up the first connection on here, and when I do it, there is definitely something turning on, like a relay down there. It sounds like my heaters. Yeah, nothing. Oh, the crap that was in there. Okay, so that one seemingly turns on what, just the heaters? I don't know. Oh, that one does a relay of some sort. Oh, hello, we've got a light on the dash. Okay, well, we get some dash lights with that one. So that must be our ignition. Right, I'm going to hook something a bit more functional up. Back in a second. Right, so I've looped two of the wires down there, and I've got this up here, which looks like brake fluid level warning. And I've got charge. I'm not quite sure how it's charging because there's no on it hooks up, but maybe that's before you would turn the key on. So now we're going to try some rear lights and see what we get. Rear lights?
Yep.
Rear lights off.
Mm-hmm.
Brake lights.
Yep.
Reverse light.
Yep.
Indicators.
No.
No hazards, I take it.
Not that I can see. Yes.
Yes, what?
One left, one came on. My left.
But just an indicator.
Yeah, solid on as well.
No headlights, right?
No.
So as I found out a minute ago, if I link it to a different bridge on the ignition switch, I actually get the fans working. Now, I don't know if you can hear that. That's all manual. I think this is the only electric bit. But I don't want to kick it on too much because I know all the crap and mouse droppings and stuff that's in there, and I don't want that in my face. Okay, so we've got some lights. No hazards. I can't tell if the rear defogger's working. No idea on the clock and stuff, but most of these gauges aren't doing anything. So next thing I'm going to have a look at is the fuse box down here. And see, oh, this is a wire hanging there, maybe that has something to do with anything. Just see what these fuses are like. If you're wondering why all the dog collar is off, I took it off to get the lock barrel out, so I can give that to a locksmith to recreate a key for the car. And that's fingers crossed that the door locks are the same as the ignition lock. Just look at my hole here. Rust. Okay, so we've got some nice old school, which would have just been school back then, fuses here. So I'm literally just going to put a multimeter each side and just see if there's continuity across them. As well as visually check as well. And there's me testing the circuits here for the indicators and wondering why it's not working, and then remembering that actually the circuit isn't complete because the wiring for the hazards is just cut out. So I've got live coming in, but I've got nowhere for it to go by the looks of it. So I'm going to have a look at the wiring under here quickly, see if I can do anything with that, and get back to you. Okay, so after doing a bit of digging for wiring diagrams, I found this one, which shows me that on the hazard switch, I only really need the green and yellow on this plug here to get it running. So most likely it's going to be these two green without tracer wires, because the others will go off to something else. So I'm just going to, well, just do the crudest thing possible and jam those in there and see what happens. Okay, we seem to have something working. Our brake light on the dash is, no, all of our lights are flashing. I wonder if our outside lights are flashing. Nothing up front. Okay, so I haven't got anything looped here, so I'm going to loop these and just have a look at the lights as well. Okay, so we'll try bridging the actual switch on some different connections, because putting the power to the main bit did nothing. And now we've got some rear markers and a front marker. Nothing on this side, but that could just be a bulb, to be fair. It's you know, it's been a long time since there's been bulbs in here, but that is progress. That is good. Loving this, especially since it doesn't seem to be earthed very well over here. So I've sussed out all the wires for the hazard switch. Basically there's 2 that loop across just for when it's off to make the indicators and stuff work, and then there's 3, so one that comes alive in and then goes to left side and right side, that loop across for the hazards. So I've hooked up these plugs on there because obviously I didn't have the other side to the other one, so we've got 2 just 5-pin sort of waterproof plugs. A bit overkill for this, but they'll be fine. And I'm going to hook that up. Okay, so there we go. We've got our hazards clicking, if you can hear that relay, and our lights working. And when it's off, we can, with the ignition on, we have our indicator working. Now, works fine on this side, but if I click the other way, you can hear it just does 1 click and then stops. So I'm pretty sure that's because the draw on the relay is not enough. Basically, it's a different type of relay these use. Instead of being a signal coming in to tell it when to switch on and off, they basically use current and heat, so that when the power goes through, the thing heats up and lifts off, and then clicks back down again, and it makes and breaks the contact. So if it hasn't got enough draw, it won't make enough heat, and therefore it won't work properly. There's a way to test that. So I've taken that front bulb holder off, and as you can see, everything is absolutely crusty and horrible in there. So we know this side one works, so I'm going to unplug this, plug it into there, and see if that works for our other side, and then this side will probably not work. Well, the plug's just plugged in, and it seems to be just staying on. So let's try this again. So that's doing the same, but that's only doing one way as well. Okay, so we just made it a little bit worse, I guess. Okay, well, clearly there's some more investigation work needed there, but wiring's a bit boring to watch, so I'm going to do all that off camera, and I'll update you in one of the future videos how I get on with all of this, because I want to sort the headlights, I want to sort the gauges in here and everything, so we're going to do a bit of a rewire on a lot of this stuff and just testing everything. Really appreciate everyone watching, and thank you for subscribing, and guys, I will see you next time.
Yeah. Raising the Tobagos, we growing like fresh tomatoes. Them boys on fire, too fuego, we pass it round hot potato. Everything is new wavo, I'm with my sweetie like Quavo. Need my cheese, need that queso, need my bread, need that bankroll. Wake up, yes Lord, I'm thankful. Another day on my schedule, steady blocking the devil, I tell her hate it.